Hey, what's going on? Sebastian here with Spin Driving School, and in today's video we are going to address steering and various ways of handling the steering wheel. Essentially there are two that I teach, mainly hand over hand and the shuffle method. So yes, hand over hand, you are crossing your hands. You're not, but some people take it as if you are crossing your hands. Essentially it's just right hand over left, left over right. So you never want to lock your hands in one position or such. But those are the ways that I teach. There are different ways. People do drive with one hand if you drive manual transmission, but for the road test, at least here in British Columbia, and probably in most countries, you will have both hands on the wheel while you're doing your test, and it is the best way to control and maneuver the vehicle is when you have both hands on the wheel, and that's where you have the most control. So that's why it's important. 10 and 2. But let's just get right into it. Okay, so that's fine, that's still fine, that's fine, it's still okay, but this is best. 10 and 2. So that's where you should be keeping your hands. Not like that, not like that, not like that, not like that, no, negative, nope, definitely not good, yes, the best way, and so on and so forth. So this is where we are, and we're doing hand over hand, right? So right over left or under, and vice versa. So for your left turns and for the right turns, it's going to be different. Usually the opposing hand is going to be the lead hand. There you go. So this is nice and slow. Right over left, left over right. And you have a lot more control. You will have a lot more confidence and maneuverability, and it is safer, etc., to steer this way, especially if you need to control your steering wheel fast and in some rough situations, let's just say. There's your shuffle method, so you're still keeping your hands at the 10 and 2 mark, but you're just shuffling the wheel between. I do prefer the hand over hand. If you want to do the shuffle method, that's fine. And in certain situations, because as I always teach my students, and as I always say, driving is always situational, you will be using different methods, depending if you're in the parking lot, how fast you're going, right? So this is just for you, let's say for your average turns, but in certain situations I will use the shuffle method, or I will just kind of drag or pull down with one hand or the other, and those are still going to be okay. So both hands on the wheel at all times, especially when you're controlling the car, right? Left turn, there's your shoulder check, and then you're going to recover the wheel the same way backwards, essentially, right? So once you're moving your hands one way, it's just backwards. It's the same thing as if you're walking backwards, right? Lane change, it's a very slight maneuver, barely, right, depending on how much you're moving over. Entering out of a driveway, right? So first and foremost, we treat that sidewalk as a stop. Hand over hand. And you can go and practice these in the parking lot, or even just just on the street parked. But the better you get at your turns and at maneuvering the steering wheel, the more confidence and the more stability you will have. See how I just let the wheel slip through my hands there? That's fine. I'm still keeping my hands at the 10 and 2 mark, and I'm just letting the wheel slip through my hands, just like here, right? Because I'm going a little bit slower. In this case, this is just, and to be honest with you, a lot of these things just happen subconsciously, so you don't even think about it. So again, just doing a little bit of a review. Right over left, left over right, or under. And yes, when I'm turning, my hands do move a little bit more into the center of the steering wheel, right? Top center, that's fine. With the shuffle method, you can definitely keep them at 10 and 2, and you can still have good results with the shuffle method. There's nothing wrong with it, especially if you get really good at it. But I just do prefer the hand over hand. But here I'm gonna do a shuffle, okay? Sure, why not? Left turn. Here we go. Hand over hand, let it slip through my hands, still keeping my hands at the 10 and 2 mark or so. Shoulder check, moving over, lane change. Very slight. And here you can see how I'm turning the wheel. They're still keeping my hands at the 10 and 2, so I'm moving the steering wheel with my hands to that position, right? And I'm never locking my hands. So even though I am crossing my hands there for, for a slight second, if you want to call it crossing, but my hands are not touching, right? I'm not locking my hands together, which gives me a lot more freedom, especially in those very sudden situations, in those close calls. Let it slip through my hands. No problem. Just like that. And we're going to do one last right turn here. And here I'm just returning the wheel the same way that I go into my turns, right? So there you go. Keep practicing. Keep at it. We'll see you in the next one. We got some winter videos coming up. Take care. Bye-bye.